Hi, Neil here from the Dirt Floor Workshop. Today's video, it's about adjusting the brakes on the kombi bus, Volkswagen kombi bus. There's a couple of different models, but the procedure's the same. Anyway, the bad news is you've got to take the drum off if you want to know what's going on. And this nut here is tight, really tight, or it should be anyway. Anyway, you take this nut off. Once you take the nut off, you can see what's going on. We pull that off. And then we pull the drum off. Doesn't always come off this easy. And there we can see what's going on. Now, the key to the whole thing is this handbrake adjustment. If this handbrake adjustment's not right, you can't get it right. And the reason being that this handbrake adjustment here determines how far apart these shoes are. And if these shoes are too far apart, what will happen is this piston will start coming out, and you'll be using the piston out here, which is really bad news because the piston will go crooked in the cylinder, and it will cause undue wear, and it won't run smoothly, and it'll wear the seals out prematurely. So you need to have the piston as close as possible without actually touching, as close as possible to home without actually touching. And you can check that. Once you've got your drum off, you can check that by bumping that there and there. There's got to be a tiny bit of movement. I don't know if you can see that. There's a tiny bit of movement there. That's what you've got to get. And if you haven't got that, it's because your handbrake cable is too tight. Somebody has just gone overboard adjusting the handbrake, and that's not right. These springs here, this spring here makes sure that that's pulled in. But just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to put this clamp on. And when I put this clamp on and do this up here, we can now see that if we pull this handbrake cable, if we pull this handbrake lever, there's a little bit of play there. Now that's the only adjustment that you need to do, that bit there. So you take that out. Now I'll do that, I'll adjust the handbrake, right? I don't know if you can see, can you see that movement that we've got there? That's the only adjustment that's required on the handbrake cable. Now, I've just adjusted the handbrake, and we've now got pretty much we've taken all of that out. That's all that needs to happen. That's in the life of the shoes, that shouldn't need adjusting again. Unless the handbrake cable stretches, that shouldn't need adjusting through the whole use of these shoes here. Anyway, once we've done that, all the other adjustment, what happens then is this adjustment takes place up here. And if you can't adjust it up here, it means something else has gone wrong. What it could mean is that this bar here that goes in here, right, gets worn here, and if that's worn too much, you won't be able to get it adjusted properly. Or this pin down here, if this pin gets flogged out, that cause problems. But the major cause of problems is going to be your shoes are worn out. If your shoes are worn out, you're not going to be able to adjust it. And just adjusting your handbrake doesn't solve the problem. If your shoes are worn out, you need to replace them. The only other problem could be your drum might be has been machined out too many times and it's the wrong dimension. Anyway, after you've got your handbrake lever right, we put the we put the drum back on. And I've got, I don't know if you can see it, I've got a couple of little white marks there that were lined up with those adjusters. And now it's just simply a matter of bit too tight. Too tight. Come back a little bit. A little bit too much drag there. That's better. And that's it. Job done. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.